Hi guys, welcome back to TV Spoilers. Today I'm going to reveal Matt's revenge plan, which might make Newman suffer even more. Matt Clark fakes his own death again. To deceive the Newman family and catch them off guard, Matt Clark stages another death for himself. This time, he does it more sophisticatedly, possibly involving a carefully orchestrated explosion or accident, making everyone believe he's truly gone. However, this is just part of his larger plan to lie low and strike when the Newman family feels safest. Matt Clark understands very well that in Genoa City, death is never just an end. It's a message, a warning, sometimes a trap wrapped in sugar. When pursued relentlessly by Nick and Victor, leaving him no room to breathe, Matt didn't instinctively flee like a weakling. Instead, he chose to fuel his biggest act, staging another fake death, but this time more sophisticated, ruthless, and calculated, as if rewriting the rules of the game for the entire city to follow. For Matt, the most terrifying thing wasn't being caught, but being seen, not being convicted, but being predicted. Therefore, he decided to make himself a finished story, a shocking piece of news quickly relegated to the resolved category, so that the Newman family, who always believed they could control every variable, could lull themselves into a false sense of security. The car explosion Matt staged wasn't just meant to create a sensation, but to create a false sense of certainty. He chose the timing, the route, the manner in which everything appeared to be catastrophic, irreparable accident where fire consumed metal and reduced all real clues to ashes, leaving only meticulously arranged evidence fragments like pre-marked chess pieces. The scene of the explosion looked chaotic, but within that chaos lay a suspicious order, an order only those observing from afar could recognize. The location of the burn marks, the tire tracks, the deliberately placed fragments designed to guide deduction, and the feeling that everything had unfolded too according to script. Matt understood crowd psychology and Victor's psychology. If he wanted Victor to believe, he had to show him what he had always believed, an irreversible outcome, a devastating conclusion that would leave no room for further investigation. The news reached the Newman family like a stab that was both relieving and chilling. For Victor, relief was never a pure emotion. It was always tinged with suspicion, with the instinct of someone who had lived too long in the battlefields of power to believe in luck. He could feel a rare moment of quiet when he heard Matt was dead, but even that moment was like a closed room smelling of smoke, a quietness that made one wonder if the fire had truly gone out or was merely smoldering beneath the floor. Nick was the same, but unlike Victor, Nick reacted with inner tension rather than outward coldness. Nick had pursued Matt with a fervent pursuit that was both justice-driven and personal, and when the result came too quickly, too completely, he couldn't help but feel something was amiss. Nick's relief wasn't a feeling of victory, it was weariness, like someone who had just run a long race and was suddenly told the racetrack had disappeared. The police got involved, and the initial investigation seemed merely to close the case, as the scene had been staged to serve that purpose. The evidence they found was enough to draw a seemingly solid conclusion, a tragic death, an unwanted ending, yet everyone could accept because it brought order. Each verification, each report, each confirmation pulled Genoa City towards consensus, and that consensus was the warmest blanket to cover the unease. When people began repeating "Matt is dead" as an undeniable truth, Matt, somewhere out of sight, had achieved the most important thing, transforming words into psychological reality, turning falsehood into truth in the minds of the majority. The moment the community gradually accepted the conclusion was also the moment the trap closed, smoothly and securely, like a door locked from the outside. Seeing such a story in the context of Genoa City, always full of masks, I couldn't help but feel a strange chill down my spine. It wasn't because of the explosion. It wasn't because of the technical deception, but because of the way people can turn the end into a tool to manipulate other people's beliefs. Matt's fake death wasn't just an escape. It was a declaration that truth is sometimes weaker than a convincing story. And what haunts me most is this. The Newman family, however strong they may be, are still human, and humans always yearn to believe that the danger is over, that they can breathe, that they can move on. That very yearning is both beautiful and fragile, and it is what saves them.